Can you hear me?
Microphone.
You need the microphone, yes.
I was in here earlier just to test it out, and I took this microphone and sang Adele. So I'm already have the same presence for this, so I'm ready to go. Also, just so you know, I have a tremor in my right hand. Okay. So, and as I get nervous, it shakes more. So if it looks like I'm waving at you, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. If you wave back, I might be confused. Do it anyway, I don't really care. Okay? So sometimes it's not noticeable, but I am nervous. Okay, so I just want to real quick, I'm very passionate about substance abuse and what it all entails, and so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about it today, but before I begin, I wanted to start off, and he's filming up here, so I'm going to just work towards the camera, and I just want to know, by the raise of hands, how many of you know people, family members, friends, loved ones, anyone, that have been affected by substance abuse, by drugs, alcohol? Okay, so take a look around. I think that was everyone. So it's a pretty big thing in our society right now. I want to just open it up real fast before I start. And I want some of you to talk to me about what your thoughts are on stereotypes, how you perceive them in your mind, what it is to have a substance abuse problem or things like that.
Sure. I think a lot of times we try to oversimplify the situation with people. You know, it makes it easier for us maybe. But there are so many variables that go into why maybe somebody has an addiction or the situation that they're in. If we took the time to kind of deconstruct it a little bit and to understand, I think not only would we avoid those stereotypes, but I think we'd have a better understanding of how to help the individual involved and make the situation better.
I agree, thank you. Any other thoughts?
I think it's really easy to give up on someone when they have recurring relapses in their addiction, because it's not a one and done thing. You don't. Some people can quit cold turkey, but other people, it's a journey of a lifetime. And if they don't have people standing with them that whole time, then they can't do it.
That's true. Sometimes, almost all the time, relapse is a very big part of their journey, and it's a big part of what has to happen in order for people to get clean a lot of times. Any other thoughts?
To me, I think substance abuse really, when I think of substance abuse, I think of alcohol or hard drugs like heroin or cocaine and stuff like that. So I think that's a stereotype they put on that.
Any others? Okay. Well, for a lot of you that you didn't talk, I know that you were all thinking of something in your head. Maybe it's, things positive that, like some people said, you've maybe experienced, you watch people go through things so that you have a lot of compassion and love for them. So great. But, that a lot of times stereotypes are very negative towards those who suffer from substance abuse and this disease. And so we maybe think they deserve it, or everyone that is homeless, it has to be from drugs. And that's a common stereotype I used to think. And there's very, very negative stereotypes that go with them. They're dirty, they're thieves, they're horrible people. You don't really want to associate with them because of stereotypes such as alcohol and hard drugs, heroin, meth, cocaine. So just think about those stereotypes that you have in your mind as you go through this, okay? And don't feel bad if you have those negative stereotypes, because it's very normal. And I just want you to keep an open mind, though, as I tell you my story. And maybe hopefully we can get a little bit positive spin on this, because it's not all negative. These are people's lives, and it is a disease. So I'm just going to start out and tell you I have a very three-dimensional view on substance abuse. I think it's unique, not a lot of people have, but I'm sure some people do it. You know, maybe some of you have even deeper view, but I'm just going to tell you my story. So, when I was 11 years old, my parents decided to become foster parents, and I was so excited because, you know, there's just going to be new. You know, I was in a family of five siblings. There's all of us, and so it was exciting. So when I was 11, my parents became licensed to be foster parents, and they went through the whole thing, and we got a call from the state that said that they have a little boy. His name was Anthony, and he was 6 months old, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about his story. So he came to us as a 6-month-old, and when he came to us, he was very delayed. He had wouldn't respond, so they thought he was deaf. His head was completely flat. As you know, babies have very soft heads so that they can grow and form. He was neglected so badly, they kept him in a car seat in front of the TV, and his head molded to the car seat. So his head was very, very flat, and he was very delayed. And he was born into John and Jennifer, and they were drug addicts, hard drug addicts. Jennifer used the entire time that he was in utero heroin, meth, prescription drugs, drank alcohol. He was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. And when he was born, he was already addicted. He had to go through withdrawal. And so that was, you know, pretty hard on him if you imagine a little boy trying to get off some pills. It's just kind of frustrating for me to talk about still. But so they were, John was a meth cooker. So he cooked meth in his house. He had a meth lab. And so Sam grew up in this environment for the first 4 months of his life. Jennifer, a little backstory on Jennifer, she was put into the system when she was 13 years old because her mom was a heroin addict. So it was kind of passed down to her, which happens a lot. That's a big thing in substance abuse. So Sam, or his name is Anthony. We adopted him and changed his name to Sam. So I'm going to call him Sam. When he was 4 months old, John and Jennifer were tweaking, and that means that they were high on meth. And meth keeps you up all day and all night, and you don't sleep and you don't eat, and it's horrible. Okay, and I mean, if any of you have gone without sleep for any period of time, you know that you maybe start to see hallucinations. You get a little bit weird, and then add drugs to that. Okay. So they're really crazy. Well, you've all gone through a December here, right? At least one December in Utah. It's really cold. And they found Sam walking down in a stroller in just a diaper in the middle of December, Salt Lake City. And they went to 7-Eleven for whatever reason. They went to 7-Eleven. And there was a police officer there and saw what was going on and took Sam out of their custody immediately and arrested them. Sam was taken to the Christmas Box House, which is a holding place before they take him to a shelter in the system. And so he was taken there, and then he was transferred to the system and in the shelter. And he was there for 2 months before we got him. And like I said, when we got him, he was very delayed. His poor head, you know, it was just, he hadn't progressed at all since he was a baby. They later went into their house to check the environment that he was living in, and they found everything. That boy had been taking everything into his system. Heroin, meth, crack, prescription drugs, all of it. Okay, so that's kind of the environment that he was living in. Right? So I'm an 11-year-old, and we had to do visitations in the foster care system. They try to get the kids back with their parents. Okay, that's the goal. And we had to do visitations, and so I'd go with my mom. And we would go and visit them, and it was, I want you to imagine the worst, like, scene from a movie maybe that you've seen that involved an addict. And think of the way they look, kind of like they're homeless looking, dirty. That is, and I don't want to be rude or I don't want to be disrespectful, but that's what it was like. And so, me, 11-year-old, I lived in a bubble. I didn't know what meth was. I didn't know anything about drugs before this, so that's already in my head, okay? But that must be how all drug addicts are. So we went through the visitations, and they were not very kind people, and I had very uncomfortable and very kind of traumatizing situations with them. And we had to meet with his grandma, so the mom of Jennifer, and then Jennifer and John. And eventually they could not stay clean. And so they kept peeing dirty. So they just gave their rights over, and we were able to adopt Sam. On their last visitation, Jennifer announced that she was pregnant again. And she had needed drugs, and so she traded sex for drugs, and she got pregnant. So because she gave her rights over, she would have the opportunity to keep this baby if she were to stay clean. But come 9 months, she was delivering my Sam's brother, Luke, high on meth. Meth was in my brother Luke's system. When he was born as well, he had to go through the withdrawal same. So can you imagine that? That's just awful. And that's what I thought was what drug addicts were. So not to be harsh, I hated them. Not think kindly of them. Between John and Jennifer, there's 11 children. Jennifer has 4 now. My 2 youngest brothers have 2 younger sisters that are staying with their grandma. And so and John has 8, including Sam. So that's 11 children affected by this disease. Okay, and they have 6 cousins because their family, their mom did the same thing to Jennifer's brother, and things like that. Okay, so it's just this big mess. So I want to tell you a little bit about what the drugs have done to my little brothers and how it's affected my family. They both, because of the drug use in utero, have frontal lobe brain damage. So that affects executive thinking. They can't plan anything and carry it out. Getting them to clean their room is a nightmare. You have to sit there, okay, now pick up that sock. Because you can't tell them, clean your room and walk away. They can't do it. That part of their brain is destroyed. They don't know consequences. They get in trouble, they get maybe spanked, or they get something taken away, or they get in trouble and they go back and they do it in the next 5 minutes. Because they don't get it. They don't get A equals B, so I probably shouldn't do A. Okay? Can you imagine that life? Sam, because of the neglect, also has RAD, which is reactive attachment disorder, which very briefly just means that his ability to trust is gone. He can't trust anyone. He lived in chaos for so long that that's what he's used to. Maybe he doesn't do it consciously. Maybe he doesn't think like, I can't handle this. But somewhere in the back of his mind, he can't feel loved. So when things are going well, when he starts to feel safe, he'll do something to sabotage it. And it's the most frustrating thing because all you want to do is love this little boy. Luke doesn't have that because he wasn't neglected. He came into our home 2 weeks after he was born. So he doesn't have that. But they both have ADHD, drug-induced ADHD, which is, added to everything else. Luke also has the frontal lobe brain damage, so he also can't figure out those other things. Just to give you an example, right now we're dealing with Sam. Right now he is going through something at school because he can't, he was just suspended from school because he can't get it, through his brain that he shouldn't do certain things. It's just an everyday thing, okay? And so then you go through and you think about how that affects us as, the rest of the kids. Not to sound selfish, but it took a lot of energy from my parents, a lot of time. And I am like a huge, center of attention, giving all your attention kind of girl. So I was like, oh, hello, and then it wasn't there. So that kind of gave me a little resentment as a little girl. As bad as that sounds. But then you gotta think, they steal things. Nothing's safe. Destroy things. We lived on a house outside of town a little bit, and they ruined the siding of it. But they just don't understand, that's just who they are. Okay, so we can't blame them, because their mom did it to them, but her mom did it to her. So do you kind of see like where I was as an 11-year-old and growing up? Didn't like them. I thought every single one of them was like that, ruining lives. Okay, so there's the backstory. Very negative feelings. So any of you who have negative feelings, I get it. I was there. And so then you fast forward, and when I was 16 years old, I started feeling anxiety, and I started to feel like more amounts of anxiety than I don't know what the normal person feels, but I've always just kind of felt it. But we were going through stress with different family things, and I just turned to alcohol. I started self-medicating. One, because it was fun. Okay, I get that. But another thing was it was relieving to me. I mean, from the very first time I took a drink of vodka, I remember it. It was like, and then I just like danced all night, and it was so great. Okay, I've learned to do that sober now, so that's great. But that's so I started drinking alcohol. Not like every single day, but on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. I did that for about 2 years. There was like a space of about 4 months that I didn't do that because I got caught. And then my parents wouldn't let me out of their sight. But then I did it, then I earned their trust back and I did it again. Okay, so now, well, in hindsight, because of things I've gone through, which I'll talk about, I now, from that experience, I kind of maybe understand a little bit of Jennifer, and I'll explain that a little bit, but I definitely understand where I am at right now in my life. So let me talk about that. I got a job at a residential treatment center almost a year ago, and I was stuck in my life. I was doing a communications major. I wasn't happy. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was supposed to be here in Provo. Knew I was supposed to be at UVU, but I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. I was in the worst situation job-wise, and one of my roommates said, "You can come and get a job here at this residential treatment center that I work at." And I said, okay, so let's just remember that I had very negative feelings towards drug addicts, okay? And so I was nervous to go in there, but I had heard her story and it seemed like a cool place to work, and I'm a people person. So I thought, I'll get this job until maybe I can get another job. And so that's like what I did. And so I went and I applied. And from the very first day, I was in love and I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. And I later changed my major to social work so that I could do this for the rest of my life. But here's the thing. Is I want you to imagine yourself, and let's say, how many people in here drink carbonated drinks? Pop? Soda? Okay, almost everyone, a lot of people, okay. What if the first time that you drank Dr. Pepper, or Pepsi, or Coke, or 7-Up, you were hooked? Think about that. You could never go a day without it again. What if the first time that I had drank that alcohol to feel relief, I was addicted? You know, a lot of people think, I thought, how could somebody choose a substance? How could someone choose a needle, a pipe, a line of Coke over their child? How could someone let their child sit in a car seat for so long that their head became flat? How could someone choose that? I didn't understand. Alcoholism is different. You don't get addicted right away. But almost a lot of other drugs you do. Every single one of my residents that I talk to about this says there's a moment. And And it's interesting because I've heard it from coworkers that suffer from this disease, and then I've heard it from, so I've heard it from like different people. But there's a moment. They could be shooting heroin for a while, but then they smoke meth. And the whole time that they've been doing heroin, they feel like, I can stop this. I don't need this is just for fun. But the moment they smoke meth, it's like, and they know they will never get rid of that feeling. And they will be chasing that for the rest of their lives. They say it as soon as they find their drug of choice. And a lot of them, yes, it starts with a choice. But then it becomes not a choice. And I think that is a huge thing that we think. They're choosing to put that needle in their arm every day, every 5 hours. But after they felt that feeling, after they feel like that's made them whole, they've been searching for that their whole life because their anxiety is too much, the depression's too much. You know, there's uppers and there's downers. You know, meth keeps you up. Maybe you're so depressed that you can't get out of bed. You find meth and now you're up and you're doing stuff. And you've never felt that way in your life. Just think about that. Maybe they're just searching for something that they don't know how to get anywhere else. But then, you got to think of the other side of things. A lot of them didn't choose it. If Sam or Luke ever touches anything, they're done. They're gone because they felt it, and they didn't choose that. Their mom chose that for them. And her mom chose that for her. And it just keeps going and going and going. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, is because I love it when people help people. I guess that's what I'm really, really passionate about, giving people a voice when maybe they don't have one. And I'm very passionate about, why we do the things that we do. And I'm very, very passionate about helping broken souls and broken people. And we're all a little bit broken. And some are just a little bit more broken. So I'm going to tell you some really positive stories because I love what I do. There's this new guy that just came into my facility and he just relapsed on heroin. He'd been clean for a little while. He was living in sober living. So what sober living is it's this place where people can go right out of treatment or right as they get clean. It's normally out of treatment because they get referred there. But they're all over the state. They're all over the country. We send a lot of ours outside of the state, or we try to get them as far away from their place of triggers. So the place they used in, place they lived in, they grow up, anything that's going to cause them a trigger. I'm sure that you know about a trigger, something that's going to make them use. It's going to set them off to use. So we try to get him outside. So he was living in a sober living and relapsed, so it's not a cure, all right. But he's going to come in and he's going to stay with us for 30 days. And we have strict boundaries and strict rules because people who use, and I'm just talking about this just because I know this. I work in this field. I'm sure it's true for a lot of different things. But people who use, they're used to getting what they want. They'll manipulate to get what they want. They'll lie to get what they want. They'll sell themselves. They'll sell others. They'll do anything. Okay. So you've got to set up like really strong boundaries with them. And so we have all these rules, and I'm constantly telling them no, and they call me mean names, and I don't care because I love them, and I'm just trying to keep them, safe. So he comes in, and this seems like just like a little thing, but it's just so big. He gets restless leg syndrome after he uses and after he withdraws for just a couple weeks, and then it'll go away. And he said to me, I love being sober. I just don't know how to stay that way. Which is true for a lot of people. Sober's great, but all they've ever known is using. And so he goes outside and smokes, and they're not allowed to smoke after the hours of 11, from 11 to 5, just so that they get a good night's rest. Just kind of teaches them. Another thing, it just teaches them that there's rules in life, and you gotta stick to them, whether they make sense to you or not. Because when he's at home, he can probably get up at 12 o'clock and go smoke if he wants to, right? But he can't while he's with us. So it's his first night, so I just go out and I go and sit next to him because he's sitting in the hall, and he's like, I just can't go to sleep. It's painful. And, you know, I could have done one or two things, and I could have been like, well, you got to, because that's the rule, and that's my job, is to hold these boundaries. Or I could just say, this is a broken soul. He's broken right now, and he doesn't know how to get fixed without my help, so I'm going to show a little compassion where I don't know if he's felt compassion in the last little while since he's been using. So the simplest little act is I took him upstairs, and I got him a cup of tea, and we talked. We got to know each other a little bit, and then I let him go sit out on the couch, which we're not really supposed to let him do, and read until his legs calm down. And I left, and see, I told you that seems really simple, but I left my job, and out loud I said, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to help people. And so going back to my story of high school and drinking, you know, I didn't know, I hate to say this, but I crave alcohol. I was never dependent. I'm not in recovery. I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic, but I crave the feeling of freedom. I crave dancing like no one's watching. I sometimes do that, but it's just not the same. You know, I crave it all. And I wondered for a really long time because even in situations where I wasn't supposed to crave it, I would. You know, and I felt really guilty about that for a really long time, but I don't feel guilty about that anymore because maybe I understand a little bit about what they're going through. You know, something happens for me and it causes me a lot of anxiety, and I feel like I can't get it together and things like that. And what would fix me? What would fix me? Alcohol would fix me. Oh, I should probably go do that. I had a resident just a couple weeks ago who got into a quarrel with girls, and girls are rude and they're the worst, and I'm aware of this, and I think a lot of us are. We should be. And she couldn't handle it. So she ran away, smoked 2 balloons of heroin, smoked 4 balloons of cocaine. I don't know how many ounces of, or however, like, she probably smoked a 1/4 ounce of pot, 8 shots of Jack Daniels. She got pretty messed up. That's a lot for those of you who don't know. That is a lot. She didn't know how to handle it. So that's what she did. And she came back 2 days later and she said to me, you know, I'm proud of myself for coming back because every time the heroin's got me, it's gotten me for over 2 years. She came back after 2 days. You know? And she's realized, she said to me, it's my defense. When things aren't going my way, I use. I'm in a situation where feel like I'm getting bullied, I'm getting beat up, that's all I've ever known, so I'm going to use. So we're there to help them find coping skills and find ways that they can not go use. Like I said, a lot of times relapse is a part of the process. We give them feedback after they present their steps. We're a 12-step program, and every single time I give them feedback and they relapse, I tell them relapse can absolutely be the best tool that you've ever had. You know exactly what not to do now. And it's awesome to see residents come back after a year to the reunion with light in their eyes again. It's all about tools, and it's all about understanding. It's all about understanding that people make mistakes, and people have problems, and they have faults. Think about your deepest thing, the deepest thing that you wish you didn't have, maybe that causes you the most amount of pain. Maybe that if anybody knew, you would be into this stereotype. If someone knew me, I would be thought of like this. I don't want people to know, so I'm not going to tell them. A lot of those things we can hide. Drug addicts and alcoholics, they try. Oh, believe me, they try. They can't hide it. And so they're judged and they're put into these stereotypes and you know, in their active addiction, they're horrible people. Their actions are horrible. And I'm not saying that because I witnessed it, I'm saying that because they've told me. I was telling one of my residents that I'm really close with right now that I'm doing this, and she said, thank you. She told me thank you. And that made me feel, I don't know how well I'll do, but here we go. And then she said, I said, what would you like them to know? And she said, that we are horrible in our addiction. She's been there like 130 days because she did horrible things in her addiction. She's trying to get it cleared up with the courts. But she said, but when we're not high, we're not messed up. She didn't use that word, but I'm not going to use the word she used. I hear that word more than anything. We're good people. And that's what I see. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I see people who've never known how to handle their anxiety or depression or bipolar. And I'm able to relate with them in a lot of ways because I suffer from things as well. We all do. You know, and I was really blessed that I was born into the family I was born into. Really blessed that I was taught the things that I was taught, that I was taught how to cope with things. That when I got caught drinking, I was told that's not a way to handle your problems. You know, when I got caught drinking again, I did not learn. But I'm so thankful that I did not learn. They said to me, you can do whatever you want. It's your life now. You're leaving the school in a week, and if that's what you want to be, that's what you want to be. But they also said, but, you know, this is going to lead you down a path that, you know, I don't even know how many people in my residential program right now I would say that would have families like that. So I could easily have become an alcoholic. I have two great grandpas and one great uncle that killed themselves because of alcoholism. See, and alcoholism is a little different. I mentioned that. Whereas drugs can get you like this. Alcoholism, it takes a little bit of time. Maybe you're drinking it for self-medication purposes. Maybe you're drinking it for fun. But then you need it a little bit for fun. You don't feel as fun without it. It slowly starts to become something that's every day, and then all of a sudden you're planning your life around it. One of my residents explained it best when she said, it started out as nothing, it started out social, and then it started out as I wake up to get it. I have to use it to go to bed. I use it at 8 a.m., I use it at 8 p.m. When asked to do something, I think, well, will I be able to drink? Or if I can't, I'll stay home. 22-year-old. It's not just old people sitting in chairs that are alcoholics. It can happen to anyone. And I think that's another thing that we don't understand. It's very real. And it's around us. And I want to give you some statistics to maybe kind of show you like that there are people at Utah Valley that suffer from drug addiction. Okay? Maybe we're kind of like Naomi, sorry to point out, but maybe we only think of alcoholism and hard drugs. That's what I've kind of talked about a lot. But one of the biggest problems is prescription drug use. Okay? I recently read, and I'm not sure where this one comes from, but I was on the internet that Utah County is the highest, is it in the nation or is it just in Utah? Is it just in Utah? For prescription drug use in Utah County, okay? So in this Mental Health and Substance Abuse Annual Report 2015, it tells us that, dang it, I forgot. I memorized it. Okay, I think it was 352,000 adults need treatment. Okay, so these are just the people that have kind of, so we got to think that it's a little bit more for those who don't want to admit it, don't understand maybe that they maybe have a problem, because a lot of people, I don't think, realize it, but, so 352,000 adults, 12,000 youth in grades 6 to 12. A lot of my residents started using when they were about that age, 11, 13. But only 15,000 are being treated right now. That leaves 152,000 without, and that's only 10% of the people that need it. So that's in the state of Utah. So Utah County is the second highest for drug abuse in the state of Utah. Just it has about half the people needing treatment centers that Salt Lake County does. But there's 23,000 adults here, 1,800 youth from ages from grades 6 to 12, and then again only 10% are getting what they need from public, the public system. Kind of think about that, like what. I mean, there might be someone in this room right now. Maybe it's you. So let's talk about prescription drug use.
It's highest in the nation.
Oh, for highest in the nation?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of scary. I've had several athletes come in to my treatment center, and this is for a lot of people, but this is how a lot of it happens. They're injured, they have to have surgery, they get prescribed a drug. Okay, they start using that for pain. They don't realize it. This is the other half of people that don't have a choice. They don't realize it before they cannot stop using it. They can't function. Well then, some people have the money to keep spending and keep getting it and getting it and getting it, but a lot of people don't. So then they find something cheaper. And what's cheaper? Heroin. Gives you the same thing, a lot cheaper. Salt Lake has a drive-through system of heroin where you drive up and people have balloons in their mouth so that if the cops come by, they can just swallow them. But you just say, I want some black. They give you some black, drive away. That is scary.
It's $20.
Yeah.
$20. It's cheap.
Yeah, it's real. And I used to have this thing in my head where heroin, for me, I don't know, I think maybe because Jennifer did meth, that seemed more accessible because I had been around that. I didn't know at the time that she had done heroin. I thought it was just meth, but it was everything, which they mix their drugs all the time. A lot of people say, I'll do meth and I'll do heroin at the same time to get the perfect high. So I'm not too high and I'm not too low. 2 needles, 1 arm. I thought heroin was like this thing that was, I don't know, and then I thought cocaine was only the rich and the executives just snorted it up and I didn't get it. And I can't believe that my upstairs neighbor right now probably does drugs. That's how popular it is. I always say, people ask me what I do for work and I say hang out with drug addicts. I don't know what they think when I say that. Crazy. But I'm so proud to know these people because they have taught me so much about what it is to be compassionate and to love. They've taught me so much about what it is to maybe, try a little harder, to be a little better for us and others. You don't know the things that you can do. You don't know the impact that you can have on people. You don't know who's suffering, not just with substance abuse, but with anything. And I think that's what's most important, is that realizing that we make a difference. And that, we wouldn't want, everyone to maybe know our stuff, but a lot of people do know a lot of people, like some things are just very visible. And they are trying. A lot of people don't know where to go to get help. If you know someone that's struggling, don't be afraid to bring it to their attention. A lot of people's lives are saved because someone said, I think you have an alcohol problem. I think you need to check it out. And it puts it in their head, makes them think about it, and they're more likely to go and figure out something. I'm so thankful that I've had this opportunity to kind of maybe shed some light on the situation. And I really just want to ask you, I want to just an extended invitation to be a positive influence, to be a voice, that if you know someone, which you all do, you raised your hand, that you'll reach out and that you'll help them. Let them know that if they're using because of mental illnesses, you know, there's help. If they're using for recreation, that maybe they should find a different recreation. Help them. Take them skiing. Don't take them dancing, because that might be a trigger. Okay? I love helping people become whole again. And when you see someone's light come back in their eyes when they've been gone, which if you know the people that you do, you know that they're gone, the light is gone. They're in darkness and they need help. If it's you, go get help. There's so many people that want to help them, that have made it their life's work to love them. From the moment they walk into my residential treatment center, I love them, even if I can't stand them. I love them because I want them to know the joy that comes from sobriety, and I want them to know the love that comes from being able to interact with people and have relationships that they can't have when they're using. And I want you to know that this, and I hope that this, maybe the negative stereotypes that you felt, maybe I've turned an eye for you. Maybe just a little bit of a shift into the positive on how you can make it positive. I'm not saying in any way the drug abuse is a positive thing, other than the lessons that can be learned from it. It is scary, and it hurts a lot of people. But I love those people, and I want nothing but the best from them, and I am out of time, so I just want to thank you, and it was great.
So we have about 6 minutes where you can ask questions, and we'll answer the question. And we'll start.
Are you the oldest out of your siblings?
I'm the second oldest. The oldest was back there in the doorway. Ellie? Oh. Beth, did you have a question? Oh.
I just wanted to know what your thoughts are in terms of how this is applicable to being a better leader. What do you think is important to understand this? Or why do you think it's important in general to just understand more about these people suffering from addiction?
So I think that in order to be a leader, you need to know the people you're leading. And I think that if we understand that there's different, people are suffering from different things, whether we can see it or not, then we can be that leader. You know, I've had leaders where they've just made it their mission to let everyone know that they're accepted no matter what. And I don't know if there was anyone in that room that had a substance abuse problem, but I'm sure that if they did, they felt like they could be better because of them. I also think it's important to be a leader, to know these kind of things in order to be a leader, because that's how you make changes. Because if you don't know about something, then you can't lead people to help make that change. So it's good to be informed on everything. No? Trevor wants to clap, so go ahead.
Yeah!